It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday. All right, get on in here. Get on in here, everybody. Let's do this. So it is Wednesday. I am excited to be here. I'm a I'm a little winded. I'm a little tired. Um Traveled last weekend to Houston, Texas. I was keynote speaker at the Health Entrepreneurship Tour under Maddie Gaffney. And so I had a great time, met a lot of amazing people. And so I left there and headed over to Atlanta, met up with the amazing group that I am partnering with in the Ultimate Entrepreneur Seminar going on in October. And so had a good time with them for a couple of days. And now I am back home. And so I'm excited about that. I know people think that I am this go everywhere, meet everybody person. It is a lot for me. It is a lot for my senses. It is a lot for me to network, but I know it's necessary. It is necessary because I have to get the word out in regards to group homes and how amazing they are. And so I continue to diligently do my job on my end and keep pressing on. I was just in the private Facebook group talking to people in regards to moving, keep moving. And so we basically just went over faith without works is dead. You have to work, you have to move. And so that's what we were going over in the private Facebook group. But tonight, here on YouTube, thank you for the like, whoever that was. Um, Here on YouTube, we are going to be going over part three. Part three, you guys. Part three to shocking truths about group home businesses. What you need to know. All right, I'm telling it all. Yes, it's the shocking truths that you guys need to know. If you're planning on getting into this business, there are things that you need to think about. Okay? And so part 1 was regulations. People don't know. The number one reason why group homes get shut down is due to regulations, people not being in compliance. Okay. And so that's why they get shut down. And then week 2, which was last week, what did we go over in week 2? Week 2, we went over the caregiver shortage. Because there's a lot of people working in the healthcare industry, working within the group home industry that are saying, oh my God, it's so hard to find a good caregiver, or it's so hard to keep caregivers. And so I broke that down. So if you didn't watch that and you're thinking about getting into this business, or you're currently having issues with keeping good caregivers, you may need to go back and watch part 2 from last week. All right. But today is part 3 of the shocking truths about group home businesses. Oh, hey, Dre Perry. Ah, Detroit loves you, Queen. Thank you. And the Queen loved Detroit, okay? Thank you. And so, yeah, so we're going to be tonight, part 3 is going to be about the hidden cost that impact group home profitability. Okay, people always want to talk about money. It ain't about how much money you make, because I told y'all, I had a consultation call a couple of weeks ago with someone. They were making $11,000 a client. But if your payroll is $100,000, you know, that's a lot. So the hidden costs that impact group home profitability, because you want to have an effective, impactful group home, but you're in business. Therefore, you also want to be profitable, right? I talk to so many people that talk about, th- there's so many people in our community that have kind of, in a sense, had group homes. They just weren't licensed group homes. And so a lot of people are taking care of these group homes with their own money, paying out of pocket, doing things like that, not getting paid by any agency. I just spoke with a young lady at the Health Entrepreneur Tour that I took part in Houston. And that's where she came to me and she said, I'm basically taking care of people and I'm going broke. I'm spending my own money to fund this. That's not a business. If you're using your own money to fund something consistently, now I can see putting in money up front for your group home to get started, if that's the way you want to go. But to continually, you're just paying, you're not getting any reimbursement, you're not getting any grants, you're not getting any contracts, you're not getting anything. That's actually not a business. And so tonight we're talking about the hidden costs that impact group home profitability as a business. Okay? As a business. So let's get that straight. I'm not talking about something you take on yourself. Give me a sec. And you're helping people out. I'm talking about profitability as a business. Because running a group home is getting more and more expensive every year. Inflation is inflating. Okay? You know how they say life is lifing? Inflation is inflating. And the cost of food and utilities and wages and just overall operations continues to rise. And so you need to know how to not just have a group home, not just to make an impact, but also to make a profit. I'm about profit, y'all. And so we want to have profitable, successful group homes. All right. So we're going to go over, and when I say hidden costs, I'm just kind of playing on words, but we're going to go over the hidden costs because I don't want you guys to find yourself struggling because it was something you didn't think about before you got started. Or if you're in the group or just getting in the group home business, or if you're in the group home business, you could probably, understand where I'm coming from, or you could probably agree with what I'm saying because things come up, and people don't think about that when they're running a group home. And so there are 5 key expenses that I kind of want to break down. 5 key expenses that can often catch people off guard when trying to have a group home business. Okay. And so before I get started, if you're on this video, if you're under the sound of my voice, make sure you like the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you think this can add value to anyone that you know, share the video for me, okay? All right, and let's get started. So, number 1 thing that people don't even think about when they're starting their group home business is licensing and compliance costs. That's the number 1 thing. It matters because you must follow the state or your local, whatever agency you're going through. You have to follow their regulations. You have to get the permits. You got to pay for the licenses. You got to do the annual inspections. You have to have required trainings, required credentials. There are requirements. that people do not think about when it comes to their group home. So you're either going to have these credentials, or you're going to be paying for somebody to have these credentials in order to run that home. So that's why when I'm talking to people, they're like, what do I need to do to get started? First of all, you need to figure out what type of group home that you want. And then you need to figure out what type of group home you can afford. Because there are certain type of group homes that have required credentials. And if you're someone that's getting in the business and you're starting from the ground floor and you have no one in your network that's a licensed social worker or a mental health professional or whatever you may need, a psychiatrist, whatever you may need, you're going to have to come out of pocket, because that person is not going to start working in your business for free. You're going to have to get their credentials, have a file created for them. They're not just going to say, you know what, I really like you. Here, take my stuff. No, they're going to charge you some type of retainer, some type of consultation fee, some type of setup fee. So that's why you need to know what type of group home you want to do, and you need to know what is required. Who do you need to have? Can you afford to have them? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, a psychiatrist is not cheap. Okay? Behavioral health professionals are no longer cheap. They used to be. Now they not. They were when I started. They ain't no more. So that is why if you don't have the credentials, you're going to have the money. Okay? So just know that. Common compliance costs that you have to think about. Those initial licensing fee. Can you even afford to pay the initial licensing fee? You know, is it affordable for you? Because it can range from a few hundreds to some thousands, depending on where you're setting up your group home. The annual renewal fees. You have a license renewal fee. If you're a Medicaid agency, you got a Medicaid renewal fee. Okay? So you need to know, can you afford this? Staff training, certifications. Most are going to have CPR, first aid, medication administration. There is going to be some type of training that they need to have. Can you afford to pay for that training? You may need CPI training. You know, you may need de-escalation training, depending on what type of group home that you're doing. And so you need to know that these are going to cut into your costs. You need to be able to cover these. And it has to be renewed. It has to be renewed. Whatever certification document that you need, it has to be renewed. So you need to know that that is a cost for you at either every year or every couple of years. If it's a fingerprint card, it may be every 5 to 7 years. It's going to depend on what it is. But you need to know about these costs. You need to plan for these costs. Fines or correction costs. If the home fails an inspection, or if you get a deficiency. I tell y'all all the time about the time that the state came into my home. I got a deficiency because there was not a trash liner, a 1-cent trash liner in the trash pail. My deficiency cost me $500 for one trash liner. Are you able to cover these costs? Are you able, if you get deficiencies of $2,500, can you pay them? So just know that you got to count up the cost. You need to make sure that you plan and save for these deficiencies, because you just never know. No matter how much I've trained, no matter how many audits I've done, the caregiver forgot to put a trash liner in there. And guess what? That caregiver still got her paycheck. But guess who was out of $500? I was. So you need to count up the costs. You need to make sure and plan for these things. Okay? Fire and safety inspections. You may have a fire inspection in your area. You may need to get sprinklers just to have your group home. There are some areas where sprinklers are required. One of my mentees is in Florida. In order for her to have her APD home, she had to get sprinklers. Are you able to dish out $18,000 to $25,000 to get sprinklers for the type of group home that you want? Or do you want to start with another group home that you don't have to have sprinklers? You start there, you build up your money, and then you get sprinklers. You need to make that decision, and you need to plan for these things, okay? Because it is a cost. And I'm not saying everywhere you open up a group home, you have to have sprinklers, but in some areas, it's a requirement. It's a requirement to pay for zoning in some areas. It's a requirement. I had a mentee in Pennsylvania. She had to hire a lawyer to go through the zoning court in order to get her property zoned to be a group home. Are you willing? Do you have that money to do these things? Okay. So these are the type of things that I want you guys to know, that it is going to affect your profitability on how much you have to pay out on these type of things. And so you want to plan for it. You want to count up the costs. Okay. So, and then another thing, I just put a note: high staff turnover. Just know, if you are paying for certifications and things like that for employees, do you want to have a high turnover? Or do you want to be a little flexible so you can keep an employee? It's things to think about in your group home business. Because if you kicking people out every other week, and then you got to pay for CPR or something like that for them, is it worth it? Things to think about, you guys. You know, ultimately, it's your business, it's your decision. But I'm saying all of these things are going through my mind as I maneuver through my group home journey, because I want to be profitable. And so I'm always trying to plan and think about things, okay? Proverbs 31 said, wow, many things to consider. Yeah. And that's why I tell people group homes is not, it's not an easy industry. It's not something to take lightly. Like, you really need to, I give out a lot of content. You need to go through and watch videos so you can learn all the things that you need to think about as you go through this journey. Because a lot of people just kind of hear, oh, they make good money, I'm gonna open a group home. Or they say, oh, I've always had the passion to open a group home, but they're not thinking about it as a business. So yes, I'm very passionate about a group home, but I also have to treat it like a business. Yes, I want to make the impact. Yes, I want to help people. Yes, I want to provide a haven for people with mental illness, but I also am a business owner. I want to make money, okay? I want to be profitable. And so you have to think about things like that. Gerald Lee said, I need that bread. Yeah, but you look, you can make all the bread. Like I said, I talked to that lady. She make $11,000 per client. But she was like, Myrrie, I need help. I need to be in your mentorship because I need to learn how to run an efficient home. Her payroll was $100,000. And she's just like, man, I need help. So I'm saying things like that, you guys, you need to count up the cost. You need to know how to have a profitable group home business, not just a group home, because you could make $1 million a month. But if you paying out $1,001, you broke. You get it? So that's why I want to give you guys things to think about. And so staffing expenses is number 2. This is something that people never think about, especially if you're doing mental health. Because the first thing people think is, I can hire a live-in. I can have somebody come from another country and be a live-in. Not in a not in a behavioral health group home. You can't, because people can't sleep. You can't be a live-in in a mental health facility. You're not supposed to sleep. People are supposed to be up 24 hours a day. So you need an employee that is going to be up 24 hours a day. So no live-in. If, look, like I said, I do things right. You can do what you want to do, but I like freedom. So I do what's right, okay? You are not supposed to have live-ins in mental health facilities or mental health residential or whatever you want to call it, okay? You are not supposed to have live-ins. And so you're going to have to think about the cost of staffing, okay? Why does it matter? Because payroll is the biggest ongoing expense, baby. It is the biggest. I'm telling you, payroll will have you curled up in the corner in the fetal position. Go, ooh, 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 oh my God, I got to pay out that much money. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was one point in time my payroll was $65,000. I was sick to my stomach. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting weak. So I'm saying things like that, you got to count up the cost. The hitting staffing costs. This is something that I work on so diligently to keep down. Overtime pay. Whoo, that overtime will sneak up on you. Okay? If staff call out or shifts need extra coverage, you get somebody else to work it, they end up going into overtime. I try to avoid overtime at all costs because it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have multiple people or multiple shifts, it can add up very quickly, that time and a half. And so overtime pay is a hidden staffing cost that people don't be taking into account because you just thinking about regular payroll. So be careful when it comes to overtime. Benefits. If you offer health insurance, PTO, 401k plans, things like that, people start off talking to me and they like, yeah, I want to do benefits. I want to offer my clients, my employees benefits. And I say, okay, check into benefits. When you first getting started with your first home, them benefits will punch you in the face when you start checking on it. And so you just need to be mindful. Yes, you want to treat your employees nicely. Yes, you want to offer benefits to set yourself apart, but you also need to count up the costs. Can you afford to offer benefits with one group home? Can you afford it? Okay. Do the minimum required in your state starting off. Then, if you want to work up to it once you put some money up, this is just my advice because it's your group home. But get some money under your belt before you start going there and offering benefits. Okay. It took years. So be mindful of that. That cost of benefits is a lot. Recruitment costs. So the advertising, the onboarding, the background checks, all of that, it's going to cost you. You got to do a background check on every employee. So if you're constantly hiring, if you're constantly firing somebody, I'm sick of them. No. Try to be flexible. Don't let people take advantage of you, but try to be flexible with people because that turnover will cost you. And before you know it, that cost will rack up. You be thinking of it as, it's just $120 to do a background check or whatever it is in your area or who you go through. But once you do that 10 times, that's $1,200. That's somebody's paycheck. So you need to be thinking about these things as you're going through your process, as you're getting your group home set up. Training expenses. Each new hire requires certification and training, orientation, all of that. So you need to think about that expense because that person cannot be there. I found something that works for my business. I train my new employees 2 days for 6 hours. That's 12 hours. And then I train them 1 day for 12 hours. They do all the work, and the person that's with them watches them while they do it. To me, that's enough training. Okay, you got your 20 hours of training in. Actually, they got 24, and you've been able to be in that house 3 days. The next shift you work, you by yourself. Okay, so that's how I run my shift. You can do what you want to do, but when you're training someone for 5 days and all of that, that adds up because you're paying multiple people to be there when technically 5 to 8 people in my group homes, I only need one person. So you do with that what you want. But I train 24 hours, and that's 2 days for 6 hours. So that person gets 2 half-a-days, and then the last day, 12 hours. The next shift they work the next week, they're by themselves. Okay. But the thing is, I have a whole SOP book, I have standard operating procedures, and then somebody is a phone call away. So if they need anything, they can open that book. Every process we have is in that book. I went in the house a couple of weeks ago for 2 hours. I had to pull that book out because I didn't know some medication showed up at the house. I forgot how to check in medication. So I pulled the book out, I checked in medication, So that's why you have things like that set up. So when you can't be there, the person knows how to go through the process. They know how to, if you hired them, they should be able to read, they should be able to understand. And you should be able to find that out if you do my 24-hour training schedule. Because that person watching them and training them will be like, that person can't read. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm telling y'all, I done learned a lot over the years of what works for my business, okay? High turnover ratio. You got a high turnover ratio, Gerald? So anyway, let me take a drink while I'm doing that. If you're listening to this video, if you're under the sound of my voice, go ahead and like the video. Because I am giving you guys the shocking truths about group home businesses and what you need to know, okay? So like that video. All right, so let's see. Number 3. We're going to move on to number 3. Emergency repairs and replacements, okay? Emergency repairs and replacements. Things you guys need to think about. Common repair costs, okay? Because things break unexpectedly all the time. It's a home. People are living there. So things are going to break. You need to have cash to fix them immediately. Now, y'all know I'm in Arizona. I cannot have an air conditioner unit blow out on me and I don't have some type of backup plan. So when I had the rented home, y'all know I had that rented home and the air conditioner went out. Those people were like, well, our people can't come out. I think it was like 4 days. We in Arizona in the middle of summertime. I got on that phone because y'all know I build relationships. And the guy told me, let me come out and look at it. He came out, looked at it that day. He was like, I can have you something here by this evening. He came and put that air conditioner on and I paid for it. And it was a rented home. Okay? Because the thing about it is, if somebody would reported me of not having air in my group home and I got them clients in there, that was going to be a big issue. And I could not afford that issue. And so I paid out of my pocket and I got that air conditioner unit put in. And then I told my landlord, you better take it out my rent. But you better have money for emergencies like that. Because an air conditioner unit, I think that one was like $9,000 that I had to dish out right quick and have that guy come put it in. But it also, too, goes back to building relationships. I could get somebody quicker than the doggone landlord could. I'm just saying, y'all. Now, no disagreeing with you about being more. Yes, you got to be flexible. The big Arizona is too hot to have. That's right, Elaine. It is too hot not to have air conditioning. My clients could not live with air conditioning. And I had somebody come deliver one of those portable inside unit blower things, and it was not cooling that house off. But it cooled it off a little bit, but it was not within the range that it was supposed to be, because y'all know they give you a range. Your air is supposed to be at this, your heat is supposed to be at this. That's how regulations are. And so I had to do what I had to do to get that unit in. Because hey, yep, blows it. It did. It blowed around hot air. That's exactly. It cooled it off a little bit, but it wasn't enough. The fans in that blower were not enough, and so I had to get somebody out ASAP. And it's just good to know people. And so yeah, so HVAC system fail. It fails sometimes. You have to have it within a certain range. And so you got to be quick to get that fixed. It can't be no, oh, we got to get the parts. We'll be here next week. No, you could be shut down by next week, you know? Because the thing is, if something happened like that and the client starts complaining and then they talk to their family member and their family member calls the case manager, they don't have no air over there. The case manager is like, what? And then the family member calls the state, they don't have no air in there. And then the state shows up because of a complaint that we don't have no air and the temperature is 118 degrees in Arizona. No, I don't need those problems in my life. I avoid drama. I avoid problems. And so you do what you have to do. Plumbing issues. Y'all know a bunch of people living in the house. And then especially if you're doing a mental health home or a senior home, toilets are going to get clogged up. Drains are going to get clogged. Leaks, water damage, clogged drains, burst pipes, all of that. If y'all somewhere cold, you might have pipes burst. You have to be prepared for all of that. That is an extra cost. Even if you have to relocate people, you still gonna be out of pocket on something. So count up the costs. Electrical problems. Might be a power outage. I know in some states they require what they call those generators. You may need a generator. You may need to make sure that generator has gas or whatever it uses, you know? So I'm saying you need to count up the costs. Appliance replacements. You cannot be without a refrigerator with a group home. You can't be having people eating out the cooler. Because I'm telling you, if the state or adult protective services or somebody shows up, it's definitely going to get documented and it's going to count against you. So things like that need to be quick. If a refrigerator goes out in my house or a stove goes out, you best believe that day it's going to be replaced. Even if I have to go somewhere and get a used one until the new one come in, it's going to get replaced that day because I can't afford issues. You can't afford issues because deficiencies cost you. So that's just an added cost. It's easier to get a backup fridge or stove or whatever it is used at a somewhere like Habitat for Humanity or something and have it than to get a deficiency, because that deficiency could be $1,000 when you could have just bought something for $250 or $500 or whatever. Okay. God chose me said not eating out of the cooler. Yeah. Look, trust and believe. I done been in all types of group homes and saw all kinds of things, y'all. I just don't be telling no people. And then roof or structural damage. You cannot have a group home and your roof about to fall in. You cannot have a leaky roof. If they come out and that roof is leaking or something falls through the roof or whatever. One time I had a tree. I had a tree fall in the front yard on the roof. Guess what? Had to call the tree guy to come chop it down, had to have the roof replaced. One time, look, I forgot about this, in one of my master bedrooms in the back. It was raining real bad, raining real bad. We literally walked in and the whole ceiling in the master bedroom was laying on the bed. Guess what? Had to get it done quick. The clients didn't even know that the doggone thing had fell down. That's how quick it was. I just got on the phone. This is when I first started. I just got on the phone, made a phone call. I used to have this guy named Mr. Rodney. Amazing. And Mr. Rodney got me somebody out there. They fixed that roof. So I'm saying, you got to be prepared. You got to be ready. You got to be able to count up the costs. And the thing is, you can still stay profitable with all of that if you prepare for it. If you prepare and you plan, you can still be profitable. You just got to be prepared. You know, you can't be out here flossing with the group home money. You can't be driving Lamborghinis and and G-Wagons and all of that when you first get started. You need to put some of that money up and plan for emergencies. Because in the group home business, your money depends on you having a comfortable running home. So that's what needs to be your focus. Not jet setting and flying all over the place. I'm just saying, because people see my life and they like, I want to live like that. No, it took me years to get here, y'all. It took me years. So don't just think you're going to open one home. I'm going to make all the money and I'm just going to be able to get the big chains and whatever you like. No, you're going to have to put some of that money up and act like you don't have no money to make sure that your business continues to run and that you continue to function, you continue to grow. Okay? All right, y'all. I didn't have these teeth my first year. You know, I'm saying. So you got to think about all of that. I had to plug my teeth. Nah. Hey, Lane. All right. So yeah, your water heater. One time I woke up, I got a call. My water heater had blew up in one of the garages. Just bow. It was water everywhere. Guess what? Had to replace that water heater. I got it replaced that day. Got the garage cleaned out. I actually took my sons over there and told them, clean this garage out. Because you have to be prepared. And you gotta be vigilant. You gotta get it done. Get it taken care of. You cannot let it affect the people within your group home. Okay? All right. And so number 4, moving right along. Number 4, something that people don't think about when it comes to having a profitable group home. Another expense that you will be coming out of. Legal, financial, compliance. All of that is entailed in the legal and professional fees. Okay? It's something that people don't think about or think that they're ever going to need in a group home setting. You will need, at some point, a business attorney. Okay? You will need a business attorney to look over contracts, to make sure your policies, different policies are in line, lawsuits. A man once told me at a mastermind, a very wealthy man, he said, if you've never gotten sued, you haven't been in business, because somebody was suing me and I was so distraught over it because I always try to do things right. And I was like, why are they lying on me? And so, yeah, somebody sued me. And guess what? I had to have an attorney. I actually had 2 attorneys for this case because he brought on someone who specialized in what they were suing me in. And so, yeah, licensing issues, all of that. You may need a business attorney. And so just know that's an added cost. Attorneys are not cheap. Attorneys could be $350 to $500 an hour, and you got to be prepared to pay them for how many hours is required for whatever you're doing. Most of them ask for a retainer. That could be $5,000 to $10,000 just for them to take your case. That's an added cost that you have to think about as you're going through the group home process. Okay? Accountants and bookkeepers. You may want to get a full-fledged accountant, or you may just want to go with a bookkeeper. That would be your choice. But for tax filing, payroll, audits, things like that, because as a Medicaid, as someone who's being paid through Medicaid, you can get audited. You can. So you got to be prepared, and you got to have good books. So you may want to hire somebody else. If you don't know anybody that does that line of work, you may want to hire someone to do your books. Consultants. Consultants. I'm a consultant. I consult with different group homes to do audits on them, to help them prepare to scale. I do audits to, like I said, I have the people that come to me that want to have systems in their group home because they didn't have them from the start. So I do all kind of consultations for people. Things like helping with Medicaid billing. You may want to hire somebody, a consultant, to help to be your biller. Compliance. Some people hire a consultant just for compliance. Some people hire me just to walk through their group home and check everything out before they go through survey to make sure they have everything. And then staff training. Some people don't want to do their staff training. And so they hire my behavioral health professional. She flies in here to Arizona because there are group homes that just want her to do their training so they can stay in compliance. And so, yeah, so there's different consultants that you can hire. I'm not saying it's a requirement, but there are people that do it. That is an expense. That is an expense, you guys. And so things like, not paying people correctly, messing up on overtime. People can sue you over that stuff. What if a client assaults a person? People can sue you for that. I'm not saying that it's going to like they're gonna win. I'm just saying you still got to go through the process if somebody files a lawsuit against you. And so you just have to know that could be a cost. So you always want to have reserves. You don't want to be spending every dime that you get. You want to have reserves. You want to plan for the worst because the worst could happen. Okay? And so it's just something to think about. I'm just giving you guys something to think about. I'm not saying all of this is going to happen to y'all, even though some of it has happened to me. I'm just preparing you guys because that's my job to give you guys the real on things that can happen. And then number 5, our last point, is what I said in the beginning. Inflation be inflating, okay? Inflation be inflating. Inflation and rising costs. Things just cost more. And so you have to be prepared. Utilities to food to insurance, all of that. I told you guys, I pay $28,000 a year just for liability insurance for my group homes. And some people be like, wow, yeah, you got to count up the costs, liability insurance costs. And you have to have, right now, we have to have $3 million in professional and liability and $1 million in molestation insurance in Arizona. And it costs. Even though, that's my professional, my liability, my molestation, and my vehicles, because I have 4 vans. And so, but it costs. So you have to be prepared to pay that cost. just finished my classes with the state of Illinois and I have to change the plan I thought I had. Hey, it happens. You got to be able to pivot. Celebration cruise trip. You got to be able to pivot. That's a part of the group home, game. You got to be able to pivot. It's between you and Ariana, but me and wife are leaning towards you when we ready to start pure awesomeness. Oh, thank you, Gerald. But yeah, she's good too. Look, like I said, I may not be for everybody, but yeah, inflation. Count up the cost, you guys. Eggs, the box of eggs we used to get for 20 bucks is 30 bucks now. And so you just gotta think about that because things are costing a lot. You have to adjust your budget. And my what I always say is build relationships. It's so important, you guys, in this business. Build relationships. If you're around farmers, if you're around grocery stores, if you're around pantries, if you're around churches, community centers, volunteer, become a partner, build relationships because it will assist you so much. At the I was keynote speaker at the health entrepreneurship tour over the weekend, and that's one of the things I spoke on is how one of my group home managers has taken that what I said, build relationships, and ran with it. And she's built so many relationships within the community that people are always giving that group home stuff. I'm like, my grocery bill for that group home is about $100 to $150 for 8 people. You know why? Because she has built relationships in her community. She has the people go volunteer at a community center. They come back with food. She has a grocer that she has partnered with that gives food. She has a church. So I'm saying the food is gonna go either to waste or to something else. Why not build relationships in your community so you can, help each other? You can have your people go volunteer at the church or community center, and then you can bring boxes of food home, and then you implement it into your menu. But I'm telling you, that is the house I spend the less on food because she has built so many relationships. And it's just amazing. And so I just love it that she took that thing because it's really important to me. Relationships are really important. And it ain't about always what I can get. It's also just sharing and what I can give and what I can help on my end, but also too, it can help me by supplementing things within my business. And so yeah, it's a reciprocal. I'm all about reciprocal relationships. And it's just a wonderful thing that she took that and ran with it. And so yeah, in Michigan you don't have to be licensed, but would you say the most profitable way is license? Of course. Of course. Because what's the saying? Where much is given, much is expected. So license as much as expected. So you're going to get more if it's a licensed group home, of course. Hey, Hawa. So you just have to plan, you have to budget, and you have to stay within your budget. And you have to put stuff aside. Put money aside. Always have reserves because you just never know what can happen. Yes, take your salary. Yes, pay your people. Yes, take care of things. But I'm saying put things to the side. Don't be out here and popping bottles and all of that. And I can pop bottles. I've been doing this a long time. I'm telling you, new people, don't be doing all of that because you need to set up reserves so you can continue your business. Okay. So, yeah. So, final thoughts. I'm just going to break down what I went over. Plan ahead, you guys. plan ahead. That's the best thing. Know what costs to expect and build them into your budget. So even if you paid your insurance, always, for the year, always have a line item for insurance so you won't forget, and then put a piece aside to prepare for next year. So if not something that you have to pay every month, plan for it. Still keep a line on your budget so you can plan for it. So by the time you get to where you have to pay it, it's already a done deal. It's already a done deal. Save for emergencies. Have a reserve fund. Okay? Have a fund set aside. You should already have multiple bank accounts. You should not be running your entire business off of one account. You need to have a tax account, an operations account, and a reserve account, if not more, just depending, but minimum those three. So never just have one business bank account. You need to have multiple so you can space that money out. Okay? And then build relationships. Relationships will get you far. Trust and believe, relationships will get you far. Relationships will get you through doors that you didn't even think you could get through. Okay? Invest in retention. Try to keep your employees and not just be like, I'm sick of this person. Reducing that staff turnover will save you thousands of dollars a year. Try to keep your employees. Why you think I love on my employees so much? One, they good to me. Two, because it's expensive to continue to hire people. It is very expensive. It will cost you. So you don't always want to be that one to be having a high turnover. You want to get some good people. You want to nurture them. You want to give them the training that they need. And you need to try to keep them. Do what you have to do to try to keep them. And then stay compliant. That will save you money. If you stay compliant, failing those inspections will cost you more. Having deficiencies will cost you money. So stay in compliance and teach your employees how to stay in compliance. And I'm not going to say it's always going to be perfect. That person felt really bad for not having that trash liner in there. But things happen. Things happen. I always use it as an example because it's like a 1 cent liner cost me $500. So I want y'all to know that will impact you, So now my people know, before you open that door, you need to check everything. Make that person wait at that door. Before you open that door, check everything. Check the locks, check the medication, make sure it's locked, check the trash liner, check it all. Walk around for 3 minutes checking. Then you open the door. I'm just telling you. Because them just walking to the door, opening the door could cost you. Teach your people. Check the surroundings before you open that door. Okay? But yeah, that's it, man. That is it. Tax account, operations account, reserve account. There you go. There you go. Yes, you need to split it up. Don't be running everything out of one account, you guys. Please talk about car insurance. What do you want me to talk about car insurance, Sadia? You have to have car insurance for your business. Yes, like I said, mine's is intertwined with my business insurance because my broker was able to do that. So mine's is all together. But yeah, you have to have car insurance because if you're driving that client somewhere and you get into an accident or something happens to that client, you can get sued. So you want to have business insurance. You definitely do. What's a reserve account? A reserve account is just like a business checking or savings, or you could do a money market account, or you could do a high yield savings account. It's just an account where you just put money in it just in case something happens. You just stack money in there just in case. So just in case you need a lawyer, just in case something happened, just in case you break down, you just have reserves. So you already have it there, so it's kind of like your emergency fund. There you go. I know a lot of people know that. So it's like your emergency fund. So if something happens, there you go. You go into that account. And it's good to do a high yield. You can find high yield savings accounts that do like 4 to 5%. So that way you making money. So try that. I have one at I'm not gonna tell y'all what I got in my bank. I almost slipped. But yeah, if you're watching this video or if you're under the sound of my voice, make sure you like the video, you guys. Make sure you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you think anybody could gain any value from this video, make sure you share the video. Nothing wrong with that. Jaslyn here. Thank you so much for the gift. Oh, always, Jaslyn. So excited to work with you. Jaslyn is a new mentee, you guys. I'm so excited to work with her. Yes. Yes, Hawa. That is a good one. I'm not going to say I have an account there, but that is a good bank. I actually did a video about Sophie. They were offering like a membership. So if you go into Group Home University and type in Sophie, you'll probably find a video with the link underneath it, because I had they were offering bonuses to sign up. But yeah, what's up, Mama Mari? It's hey, Michael. Hey. So you guys, that is it for today. Make sure I have another event coming up, but it's not till October, but it's just good to secure your seats now if it's something you want to do. It is the Ultimate Entrepreneur Seminar. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. So if you're in Texas, make sure you come so we can link up. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. There should be a link under all the videos, or I'll make sure there's one under this video. And then make sure you use my code, because I did negotiate a discount for you guys. So if you use Hayes25, you get a percentage off. But yeah, I would love to see you guys there. Hey, Monique. Monique is a mentee too, you guys. So she's welcoming Jaslyn, because that's what we do in my mentorship. We welcome people. Reserve account is for unexpected expenses. Yes, correct, might be. Yes. You set stuff to the side so you can have funds just in case something happens. You don't take it out of your operations account, okay? Thank you for the great information before getting ready for work. Good night, all, and good bless. Oh, you're welcome, Celebration Cruise Trip. Hey, Hawa, I'm coming this year by the grace of God. Okay. All right. Well, I expect to see you there in October, Miss Lady. I think I have a couple of things coming up more recent than that, but right now I'm really, really excited. I just did a photo shoot over the last couple of days with the partners of this group. And so I'm pretty excited about this partnership. Really great, powerful women from just different, different backgrounds, different professions, all of that. So y'all know I just be out there. I be doing the doggone thing. But yeah, so glad that you guys joined me tonight. I'm happy that you showed up for me. And like I said, if you have not liked the video, like the video. But that is all. And as I always say, you guys, be a blessing to someone else. All right, good night. Bye.